Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Well, welcome race fans to the Red Bull Ring in Austria, in the heart of the Spielberg Mountains, and we're here to take part and enjoy the first round of the F1 Brontest here for 2024. You can see the drivers already out for the 15-minute qualifying session. We have Cutie Patootie, who is out already in the lead, on track at least, and rocking a very nice new livery here with an orange nose, white body, black tail. And we will see how he manages to tackle this relatively straightforward but narrow and fiendishly difficult, tricky circuit for track limits here at the Austrian home circuit, of course, of the Red Bull Racing team. And we head out to try our hand at the first qualifying lap. However, we've already got a half-second penalty on the car. We're going to be riding on board though with Cutie Patootie here, with fellow racers Branko, Racecac and Zat Soldat, as we run through the start of this session, down the compression and then back uphill, pointing uphill for the heavy braking point of turn 2. Officially turn 3, I suppose, as we run through a similar then profile, a snaking non-straight as we head down towards then a downhill braking zone for the right-hander here. Third major braking zone of the track. Turn 4, feeds out into turn 5. Look for drivers running side by side on the exit of that corner on the way through, as we then have a short squirt down into turn 6 and through turn 7. Very similar speeds, slightly differently profiled. You can just lean on turn 8 as you go through to exit, but it feels like the car feeling a little bit loose here. Little deceleration there for the half-second penalties. We run into the penultimate corner, turn 9. Look for the pit lane entry on the right before blink and you miss it. You're straight into turn 10, and we power out back up the hill towards the start-finish line to get the first representative time on the board. Of course, it's the provisional pole of 117.815 for that driver, and we go for Zat Soldat. Then he's the second one across the line first, and he's straight on the pace at 1:15.931 there for Zat, as we look at Branko as well, managing to set his first time, but it's not particularly representative. Let's get a good look at the car from the outside, shall we? Rocking a fairly plain black livery here, yellow driver surround and some red accents on the car as we run down, setting the first sector time there, best of all, but unfortunately that's not the way to run through the exit of turn 3. Racecack is here in a Haas rendered car, so we'll refer to it like that, shall we, for the benefit of the remainder of this broadcast. And we'll be running then with Racecack to see how he runs. Of course, the Super Formula Honda powered cars, very close to a Formula 1 power in terms of machinery, and almost between a Formula 2 and a Formula 1, which is why so many drivers like to test their mettle in these particular machines. Very good torque profile on the cars as well, and we'll join him on board because for the most part qualifying it's all about one versus one. It's Zat Soldat set a new fastest lap of 1:13.605 in this qualifying session, which is already 5 minutes old. It's you've really got to get a move on here with your qualifying time. So next up then, Racecack will cross the line. He gets a half-second penalty for that lap and the start of the next lap as well. Racecack then in fourth at the moment, 20.8 seconds away, and we'll go back to Zat Soldat and see how he can manage this. A Ferrari colour scheme here. We've got some good differences in colour schemes, which is always helpful for a commentator. You can see the helicopter in the sky there above the circuit, just capturing the best of the action in the braking zone down into turn 4 and through turn 5. Braking heavily now into the corner, and a 13.6, the fastest. A little bit too much steering there, cranked on, and he can afford to then run a little bit wider. Nice narrow entry through turn 5 into turn 6. Down, drop the car down into third gear. Little bit of a double stab at the throttle that time round, down to third once again, and this is a slow lap here just to settle the nerves, settle the car down into the ideal operating temperatures. Let's see how Cutie Patootie is doing. 1.1 seconds only here away from the fastest time so far, and a personal best in sector 1 for Cutie Patootie as we then run uphill. Heavy braking right across on that curb, just over-egged it slightly, so needs to rein in that braking adventure just slightly to make sure that he can bring this car through towards sector 2 and improve. But he's got a good benchmark for sector 1 at least. P4 at the moment, a 14.7 here for Cutie Patootie. Running through then into turn 6, and again another good personal best, gaining this time nearly 0.4 of a second over the course of the lap so far. So we'll see. He's got the Cosworth steering wheel here as he runs violently over turn 9. That will gain him a little bit, but did he recover the balance before heading into turn 10? I wonder. It pays to be smooth through turn 9. You want to be a slingshot out, and he lost a shade of time, but a new personal best of 14.557. Looks like Zat Soldat still the fastest driver on the circuit. This is a 0.9 of a second delta here. Second lap, the previous lap was not quite up to standard. Like I say, just dropping the temperatures, getting ready to run here 6 minutes 46 on the clock so far, and he runs across. That is a 2-second deficit to his fastest time that time. Let's join Branko then and see if he has picked up any speed. 3.565 seconds off pole position, just a 2.6 second gap to the car in front at the moment, with qualifying almost half finished so far. Another driver struggling to get the car braked heavily enough down into turn 3. Looks like we're suffering a little bit of lack of grip into that corner. Could be the wind. 3 meter per second northerly wind, which will be a tailwind into that corner almost. Slight crosswind possibly. We just getting the car nice and set. It looks like Racecrack has just put in a good lap there, a 1:16.944. He's managed to move himself up into P3 now in the Haas car. As we run on board Cutie Patootie, he goes 1.4 seconds away from the fastest, and we'll see if he can recover on this lap. Now, Zat Soldat still with the fastest time now, a 1:13.605. And we'll see the first sector come up shortly here in the braking zone, almost for turn 3, and he's faster. Personal best 0.3 of a second, and again slightly wide there, running outside of the circuit. Looks like it's all about that turn, and the driver's just needing to adjust now in the final half of this qualifying session to make sure that that doesn't continue happening for them. Very smooth, very tidy. Second gear through turn 4, very, very nicely done through turn 5. Get prepared and ready for that turn 6, and then we'll get an update on the lap. So far, it's a slightly square-edged that turning angle. But again, 0.6 of a second improvement for his personal best through the second sector. We've just got 2 main corners to run now, but Racecrack's lowered the bar even. Racecrack has set a new personal best. We'll run through here with Cutie Patootie in the white and orange liveried F1 style, and he's just half a second away now, half a second away from Zat Soldat. That was a half-second improvement that time, and we're getting into the business end of this session as Zat Soldat will see that and now need to try and improve. Tempted to try and get himself further down into the 1:13s. The last lap was 0.6 of a second gone, and he's dropped the bar. Yes, he has, down to a 1:13.351, moving now nearly 0.7 of a second away from Cutie Patootie. So now it's a slow start for the next lap here, and we'll see if Cutie Patootie can continue to run. That was smoother through turn 4 and 5, just an acceleration zone turn 5 really. How is the next lap looking? I think Zat Soldat will be not running a fast lap this time. Whoa, so close, 0.02 of a second this time away from personal best. So it's all to gain in the final sector. Has he got anything left on the car, the tyres at this particular time? Characteristically aggressive through that turn 9, and it just didn't quite work for him through turn 10. I wonder if the game will give a penalty. Yes, indeed it does, a 1-second penalty, but it was faster this time by 0.2 of a second. Zat Soldat will be finishing out his lap. Let's go back to Racecrack next then. He's got a penalty on the car this time, and a big spin that time. So Branko might have hope of catching if he can just pick up the pace ever so slightly. We'll be running through the final 2 corners of this lap. He's slowing down now. I'm not quite sure. Just preparing for the next lap. He's gone into the pits. So is everybody coming into the pits now? Have they set their best, or are they coming in for their final run? The fuel has not burned off Zat Soldat's car. We have Cutie Patootie, who's run off the racing line here, just getting out of the way of anybody else circulating. We'll run with Racecrack at the moment, half a second away. Looks like a little bit of tactical decisions here at the moment for the drivers. Quite sure what we're expecting to see in this final few minutes of the session. Just a 15-minute qualifying session, of course, for this race. Doesn't allow you to get a huge amount of laps in. He has to suffer the penalty here, and then he can prepare for his next racing lap. Looks like Zat Soldat's back out on track. He's exploring the limits of grip here for Racecrack in the Haas coloured Super Formula. little bit of turbo deployment here on the car, and we will run with him through the first sector, see how that goes. But I'm keen to see how Zach Soldat is running. Slightly wide, slightly late on the brakes, perhaps through turn 1 for Racecack. Building the speed up to VMAX if possible. Looks like he's got a little bit too much wing on the car, but it will help him through the corners. Round we go once again for Racecack. Kudiputudi is in the pits, getting a change of tyres, I suspect. Where is that Soldat at the moment? Well, he is just walking his way through turn 10 in order to start this lap to the best of his ability. Nice and narrow, really, on the exit there of turn 10. Up to 6th gear, then switch through the gears, and again, just taking his time here. Not a fast lap here for Zat Soldat, so this one isn't going to be very special, but he does have the fastest lap of 13.351. Branko is on the track, though, in his mostly carbon fibre coloured Super Formula. Little stabs on the throttle mid-corner there, just to try and rotate the car with the use of the throttle. Waiting to see if any of our drivers are going to be able to attack the final minute or two. We're down to under 2 minutes to go. Only a 30-second extension on qualifying to finish your current fast lap. So it's now or never to secure your starting position here for the grid. And we run up to turn 1. Heavy on the brakes for Branko. Very cautious through there. Almost too much on the way of throttle on the way out as well. Just needing to modulate that throttle ever so slightly and improve. Looks like Kudiputudi is in a slow zone at the moment. Is that Soldat on for a faster lap? He's not again. Running super narrow through the exit of turn 10. And I wonder, is that just to start the next lap? He's quite far over to the middle of the track here on the approach to turn 1. And again, not a competitive lap here. Maybe just burning off the fuel. Looks like Kudiputudi is maximising that run. Certainly Zat Soldat doesn't want to give a bit of slipstream out here to his rival on the track. Sparking coming out of the tail of that Ferrari liveried Super Formula. And a little bit late on the gear changes perhaps, or that could just be a little bit of lag on my end, but sounded like a little bit late on the gear changes there from Kudiputudi. Improvement on this lap, it seems, and the wind has changed direction down to a southeasterly. Very unusual to see a wind change of that degree within this short qualifying session. We're almost at the limit here for the session, and Zat Soldat was all over the racetrack. Kudiputudi won't be happy with that. He did definitely suffer some hesitation, if not an outright block. This is now marked as his final lap, so this is the only one that is going to count for our drivers. Looks like Zat Soldat can't go any faster. 0.6 of a second is Kudiputudi's gap to the pole position. I don't think this one's going to do it, but if he is, it's got to be now. It is too slow to change that now. Racecack also going slowly. Let's join Branko, unfortunately, out onto the gravel. So that is, I think, the fastest laps we will see for the session. Indeed it is. And there we have our qualifying performance. It's Zat Soldat on a 13.351 who claims the pole position for our grid start of our race. It will be Kudiputudi in the orange and white and black liveried car on a 14.005. Racecack is third on a 15.7, and at the back for now, Branko on a 17.170. Well, we're looking forward to getting into our race very shortly. We'll be there for you. Required tyres are medium and soft, and we will be underway. I'm reading a 35 lap race here for today, and the race will begin very shortly. I may have to dip in and out of the spectate scene to try and get my settings correct. Well, we're ready to get underway. We've got the 5 lights ready. It's time to get racing very shortly. Here they come then. Remember, Zach Soldad in the Ferrari. We've got Cutie Patootie in the orange liveried car. It's lights out. It's go, go, go. Away from the start. Slight hesitation there from the Ferrari, and the Haas comes screaming down the middle. Racecack in a good position, but it's Cutie Patootie who has the inside line. Very, very steady through the start of this race, and it's Racecack who claimed the lead of the race right from the outset. Fantastic racing from Racecack. He managed to make that middle position work, and he's now holding the position as Cutie Patootie and Zat Soldad run into turn 3. Very, very late braking though from Branko, who claims the lead, but with some questionable tactics around the outside. Tries that Soldad now from the inside, and it's Branko who manages to negotiate the next few corners. He was slow away. He managed to go a little bit of bowling down into the inside. He's doing the same again, and he's ruining everybody's journey through this first lap. They need to be very, very careful as they run through here. That is Racecack back in the lead of the race. It's Branko who's really struggling with the brake pedal at the moment. I would imagine the drivers, based on qualifying performance, will get their way around these drivers fairly soon. Cutie Patootie at the tail of the field despite qualifying second, and Racecack and Zad Soldad managed to continue their fight. Zad Soldad has got himself a small gap, and Branko still late on the brakes. Will Branko outbrake himself through turn 9? Not quite, and we run through to finish out lap 1. It is going to be Zad Soldad in the lead ahead of Branko, with Racecack and Cutie Patootie fighting hard. Here comes Cutie Patootie down into turn 1. It's got the inside line, the favourable line through the corner, and Racecack tried to turn in on Cutie Patootie, and it didn't quite work. Racing away, Zach Soldad, who has got the gap. Racecack tries to dive down the inside as Cutie Patootie takes a wide line. Wise from the last lap as well from Cutie Patootie, who then has his sights firmly set now on the tail of Branko's car. Running through to start the midpoint of lap 2. It's Zad Soldad who is in the lead. Branko is in second, moving all over the road slightly as Cutie Patootie goes for the inside line into turn 6. An unusual maneuver there, and in fact he ends up on the grass, just ducks out of the throttle and ends up losing a place to Racecack, who is now back up into third position. Cutie Patootie straight on though to try and tackle here for the inside line into turn 9. Again, another unusual position. Maybe some patience needed here from the Fleet branding car in fourth position. Zad Soldad though out in the lead. Branko in second, and Racecack now on the tail of that second position, looking to get himself one step higher on the podium. Branko did have a little struggle coming out of turn 1 once again, but now Racecack, who was hesitant on the way out of turn 1 thanks to Branko's positioning. Cutie Patootie on the outside going down into turn 3. Will he make it stick? He's going for the long way round. Racecack manages to negotiate that one a lot better, and again Cutie Patootie hampered by Branko's positioning, but Branko back down into fourth position now, but he's got a better run out of turn 3 in through turn 4. And they run smoothly through. Looks like Cutie Patootie just being cautious now. Remember, soft tyres in play here for the majority, I think, if not all of our drivers. Yes, indeed, all of our drivers on the soft tyres, but they will have to switch to the medium by the end point of our race. Of course, the fuel wear negligible around such a tiny circuit as this. We shall see how they fare with the tyre wear though throughout the session. Again, Racecack a little bit at 6s and 7s, forces Cutie Patootie to take avoiding action, and Cutie Patootie has had a mini spin there as he lights up the rear of the car. He needs to try and get himself back under control, and he's got a long haul now. That gap opening out to 12 seconds to Branko. A lot of work to do now for him. Branko picked up a 1 second penalty in that exchange there between the two cars, but then Racecack has also got a half-second penalty, so I don't expect those positions to change significantly. Branko struggling on the brakes as the wind has picked up once again, and is now a northerly wind on the racetrack. Tailwind going in to that all-important turn 3, where you see so many overtaking maneuvers happening. Branko very, very greedy on the braking here, and Cutie Patootie already starting to close that gap. He's done absolute wonders to close that gap already. Just 8 seconds to the lead, 5.9 to third position, and he's already picking up the pace significantly now that he's in clear air. And there is a purple sector for you. How about that? What about Zach Soldat? Well, he's still in the lead of this race, 2.4 seconds in the Ferrari livery at this time, and still commanding lead here for him, a 16.8 that time round, just taking the car nice and steady. You don't need to win by a country mile. It's all about winning at the slowest possible speed. Racecack struggling over the bumps there. The car not very compliant across the elevation and undulations of turn 1, but a half-second penalty on the car at the moment. Branco has paid his penalty, so he may see that place change. Branco launches one down the inside, and Racecack has no alternative but to wait for Branco to come through. That was aggressive. Cutie Patootie, though, back on the pace, back to give us some hard and hopefully fair racing, though. Racecack, well, that's just lawn-mowing down the inside of turn 4 and through into turn 5. That's not going to help at all, and add the penalty on top. Of course, it's more than a half-second penalty because it's half-second off throttle that the drivers will suffer. Although before the on this particular circuit, and the location of that penalty marker, as there you can see for Racecack, it's actually a short distance to the next braking point. Here is Cutie Patootie then in P3, still trying to find a way through and past, and he takes a wide line, nice typical racing line, as Branco is super defensive. Let's see if Cutie Patootie can take it all the way around the outside. He does, and Racecack sneaks one up the inside as well, straight away. Wow, fantastic action there, but Cutie Patootie held firm, and they didn't manage to have a problem or tangle wheels at all. Rear racing light just flashing out of the back of Cutie Patootie's car there for a moment, and running wide through the corner. He may pick up a penalty if he's too greedy on the throttle while off circuit, but so far Cutie Patootie holding on, and he's got a big deficit at the moment to Zat Soldat. 5.4 seconds as the rear end lets go on Cutie Patootie. I don't know if he had contact there from Racecack. I'll need to see that in slow motion replay later on, but he held on, nicely held, except into turn 6. Perhaps dirty tyres played a part in that one, and slips back down to 4th place for Cutie Patootie. It's Branco in 3rd now, and with a lot of work to do. Racecack in that 2nd position. Let's see if they can make it through this circuit and this lap at the moment. Nice and smoothly. Well, Branco down to the inside. I think there was an element of sportsmanship happening there for Branco, because he was a little aggressive on the previous corner. Here is Cutie Patootie then, back in on the podium, back into 3rd position, and with some work to do. 2 seconds deficit to Racecack, 8.2 to Zat Soldat, and we are 7 laps in to our 35 lap race. A fastest lap that time for Cutie Patootie. No, his fastest sector, excuse me. Fastest lap is a 109.625. He can absolutely do it when it matters, when he really needs to put the pace in. A 109.625. I wonder if he found himself a shortcut, because that is incredibly quick for Cutie Patootie, as he's now right on the tail of Racecack, and we'll see some good racing shortly. The Haas now moving around on the exit of the corner to try and off-put Cutie Patootie. Let's see how that feels on board, shall we, for Cutie Patootie. You can see the halo in effect here. Braking earlier than Racecack. Racecack across the inside of the corner, picks up a 1 second off throttle penalty next time round, does Racecack, but Cutie Patootie was definitely trying to minimise the risk of running into Racecack, as a 2.5 second penalty. Now Racecack is really struggling on these tyres. We'll have a look at his tyre wear in a moment, but it is proving to be very difficult for Racecack to hold on to this Haas. I think he's got the setup very stiff on the car. Another purple first sector there for Cutie Patootie from in front of the nose. Look at the suspension travel on the front wheels here for Cutie Patootie. as Branko has some work to do now, 8.1 seconds away from the rest of the field. Mandatory pit stop, mandatory tyre change still to come in this race. Racetrack will be slowing down, as you can see, coming out of turn 8 before turn 9. Kudipatudi just needing to be patient now, and he'll easily get past. There he goes, as the slowdown penalty takes a massive effect there for Racetrack. It's not so apparent when it's only half a second, but 2.5 seconds, that will absolutely kill your momentum. So what does Kudipatudi have in the tank now? Has he got the opportunity to chase down Zad Sorat? Well, he's put a penalty on the car already, but the gap to Zad Sorat has reduced. It's down to 7.1 seconds now. So his car running a little bit slower at this current time. Well, Racetrack's tyre wear not significantly different to Kudipatudi, so we can't really blame the tyres for his wayward struggles at this point in the race. Let's join Zad Sorat then. Gold visor, very stylish on the helmet, as he is now going to run and see. He's got good consistency on his lap times, 13.9, his fastest, much slower though than the fastest time so far at 109.625, which I believe is faster than we saw in qualifying potentially, so he may have found a shortcut on that lap. Zad Sorat 7.5 seconds to the good, and Kudipatudi will be chasing down. In fact, there is his penalty to pay right about now. That will help Racetrack to go past temporarily, but Racetrack's picked up another penalty as well, 1.5 seconds, so that's going to hurt later on. Kudipatudi driving smoothly and hoping to make it onto the tail of Zad Sorat if possible, and take his time here to pass Racetrack. What news of Branko? We'll check him out in a minute, if and when Kudipatudi can launch an attack here. Fantastic camera angles, fantastic graphics here on the Gran Turismo platform. Really enjoying the look of the cars. You can get a really good close-up there of the fantastic running here of our drivers. It looks like a small move there, just to make sure that Kudipatudi knows that the Haas has got him covered, but wide on the exit for the Haas of Racetrack. And again, another narrow entry. This could all be in vain though, if QT can stay behind nice and steady here. As soon as the penalty applies to Racetrack coming out of this corner, he should be able to blast straight past him. There he goes. In fact, the car slightly ghosted as he went through, and we see him through turn 9 and 10. We don't want to pick up another penalty though, so stay within track limits this time for Kudipatudi, and his deficit 10.7 seconds at the start of lap 11 here on the car. DRS in effect on the way up to turn 1, of course, this time, but probably not in the next, on the next straight. There you see, and again smooth through turn 3 for Kudipatudi. Less than a second though, his gap to his rival behind, Racetrack in the Haas. Slightly wide through turn 4, but that's not the end of the world. There is grip out there. Not the apex is not absolutely essential for the drivers. 11.4 seconds now, the gap to the leader, as Racetrack runs wide, and a full 360 out on the gravel, managing to stop the accident on the racetrack. It allowed Branko through. Where is Kudipatudi? What on earth happened to him? We missed the incident there for Kudipatudi. I wonder if that had anything to do with Racetrack's mistake, but he's back down into 4th position. Branko all the way up into 2nd place, and we now go running between Branko and Racetrack. Racetrack just on the outside. A temporary yellow flag on the circuit that time, and just relying really Racetrack on Branko making a mistake on braking on the inside. Let him run, but Racetrack didn't manage to exit the corner smoothly enough. Again, struggling with wheel spin on that Haas, and needing some adjustment on the setup. I wonder, that looked like a little bit of contact there in the rear end, a little bump and run attempt perhaps from Racetrack, but he came out of the throttle to allow for Branko to recover, and this is going to bring Cutie Patootie straight back into it as we see the green engine cover lights just aglow on our second and third position cars. Racecat went nicely through that time despite Branko trying to close the door on his rival. Back up to second place then for Racecat. And again, the car getting a little bit loose. Same on Branko's car, and he went out onto the gravel, in fact. So Branko struggling a little bit as Cutie Patootie runs down the inside. Will he get through before the start of turn 9? Yes, indeed. Through he goes. Cutie Patootie back up into third position, but straight off the circuit once again. Running wide through turns 9 and 10. He'll pick up another penalty, I think, that time. Yes, there he goes. 1 second penalty on the car, and these three will continue to fight. However, they have dropped the gap to the leader, Zad Soldat, this time out. All the cars, though, still on those soft tyres. They'll just run the soft tyres, I think, at this tyre wear level. They'll run the soft tyres as long as they can through this race. We'll see them deep into the second third of the race. And down the inside went Branko, way too late on the brakes, and they continue to navigate one another through the next few corners. Half a second penalty on Racecac's car. 1 second penalty on Cutie Patootie, and a second. These guys are just tripping over each other for penalties. No awards for clean driving this time out for these three. It's been relatively straightforward, though, for Zad Soldat, whose gap has been pegged down to 5 seconds, just under. Another wide moment through turn 6 there for the Haas of Racecat, and he's down into 4th position. And now Cutie Patootie can start to get some gap. As soon as his penalty is paid for, he can start to get that gap back to Zad Soldat. Another wide moment there for Branko. Oh, going wrong, but saving it. Tyre marbles going everywhere for Racecat, but he managed to save it. Well held, sir. Well held indeed. And then very late on the brakes, or is it Branko too early on the brakes? Each driver will have their own perspective on that incident at the start of lap 14, but they both emerge unscathed, thankfully. Cutie Patootie, his gap to the leader, 7 seconds now as these fights continue to hurt their pursuit of the outright win. Running out over onto the grass slightly with 2 wheels was Cutie Patootie as Branko's down the inside. Will Branko do his typical late braking maneuver? Well, Cutie Patootie almost relies on it, tries to do the cutback, but through comes Racecat on all 2 of them. Beautiful maneuver from Racecat as he timed that one to perfection. Cutie Patootie in that 3rd position. Branko at the tail of the field, 8 seconds. Zad Soldat's lead at the front at lap 14 of 35 here in our current race. Running through turn 9, looked a little bit fast there as we get another yellow flag on the circuit. That looked like that is Zad Soldat who's dropped down the order, so he's been off circuit and he's lost the lead down into P3 now for Zad Soldat. Looked like he had lit up the rear wheels as well coming out of the final corner, so a big problem for Zad Soldat, down into 4th position from holding the lead from the very start of our race. Now we get to see how Racecat could do with no one in front of him. Branko late down on the brakes once again, and they run through, and that is a full 180 spin. It meant that Zad Soldat had to take avoiding action from Cutie Patootie, and he picks up a penalty in the adding insult to injury. But Zad Soldat back up to 3rd position with a big gap having opened out to Racecat and Branko this time. Big changes happening near the halfway point of our race at this stage. I wonder now, is the tyre wear starting to take effect? Well, we've got a problem on the front left for Zad Soldat. It's said for a moment there that we had damage on the front wing, but looks like that's okay at the moment here, and he slows down for his penalty, moves aside, showing some good sporting behaviour as well. Still, Cutie Patootie with the fastest lap at this stage, but the tyre wear rate very, very small at this short circuit here. I think they could comfortably get towards the last 5 laps before having to pit for mediums. and they won't want to use those mediums until they absolutely have to, because of the delta on the medium tyre is significant and much slower than the optimum speed of the softs. So they'll know the times. These drivers, well practiced and well trained, they'll know the times when things start looking different for them. And you can see the Fleet branding car here in its glorious livery, fighting hard, doesn't look out of place at all. Running down into turn 4 and late on the brakes. He's been riding that corner very wide time after time. You can see them, the marbles, the tyre marbles on the racetrack, and the detritus from running off-road. Zadsoda into second place once again. He gets back into the second step of the podium, but he won't be satisfied with that, having led the race for so long. He'll take anything except a win as a loss here today, especially starting on pole position as he did. Zadsoda then second place, as we have Racecack 1.3 seconds in the lead. Now these three have put a gap to Branco, and we'll see if they can make this happen. Zadsoda 1.1 seconds away from Racecack here, and he's dragging, he doesn't want to, but he's dragging Kudipatudi along with him. Kudipatudi tucked in for the slipstream effect, going down into the tight corners. This circuit, it's very short, but it does promote fantastic side-by-side race action and good overtaking possibilities. So, lap 17 of 35, halfway point in the race, as those soft tyres still letting go. That front right is really difficult in its performance for Zadsoda. You can see it glowing red on occasion, so he's locking up. Needs to crank the brake bias backwards slightly to try and compensate for that. And there you see the left front letting go as well. So he is definitely struggling with the handling of that Ferrari liveried Super Formula. Got a fantastic close race here for you as he goes around the outside. That was a misjudgment from Racecack, and he takes the lead again. Does Zadsoda in the Ferrari. Fantastic overtaking manoeuvre as he then defends heavily into the next corner, and in comes Branco. Enter Branco. As soon as he gets close to these drivers, he has a go. You've got to admire his ambition. He certainly is super late on the brakes. No fear for Branco, and the driver's just having to avoid him time after time on these tight corners, and this time out onto the gravel. Needs to rejoin safely if he can. That was a cheeky little rejoin possibly that time from Branco, and a big penalty I would imagine will be paid. Talking of penalties, another one for Kudipatudi, this time out, as Zadsoda wants to try and put that gap back where it was before. He won't be happy having let that lead slip and having the accident that he had all on his own earlier on in the race. Looks like we're about 1/3 practical tyre wear here on the rear left of Racecack's car. He is using these tyres more than his rivals. As I've mentioned before, the car looks very uncomfortable mid to late corner, and the back end wants to step out over and over again for him. They only have a certain amount of overtake boost available to them, these drivers. You can see on the bottom right of your screen, you can see the high in motion. There we have the overtake button being pressed at the moment by Racecack, and then the turbo deployment and the speed of the turbo in operation as they run through. And again, another slide mid-corner from Racecack. He's really struggling to hang on to this car today. Doing a great job, though, to stay on the circuit as much as he is with the kind of handling he seems to have on the car. Again, Kudipatudi is wearing that rear left more than any other tyre. And that's the one that takes the punishment when you're turning to the right. So not so much through turns 6 and 7, but everything else at high speed, definitely leaning on that one, especially through turns 9 and 10. So Kudipatudi in that third position. Trying now to catch and pass Racecack, who hasn't had a penalty for a little while now. So nice smooth portion of this race for him. We've got Soldat in the front of the field. He's on his 20th lap and he's pushing hard. You can see running wide through turn 3 already. And there's Racecack with a half-second penalty. That will be music to the ears of Cutie Patootie, or maybe you get music to the eyes as a driver, and he will try and run through. Braking on the extreme left of the circuit for the straightest possible line to the apex, and beautifully through for the fleet branding car of Cutie Patootie as he runs through. Little brake light showing on the back of these super formulas, kind of gives the game away a little bit, and you could hear the tyres squealing and protesting of Racecack as he came through past the trackside camera we happened to be watching that time with as we were watching Cutie Patootie. So he is now 2.3 seconds away from Zad Soldat, and the drivers will start to think about whether the medium tyres will give them more of a stable platform than they are running at the moment. Branko at the moment though 13.5 seconds away from third position, so he's kind of out of contention at this time as Zad Soldat. Look at his consistency from lap 16, all at the laps in the 1:14 14s, doing a fantastic job here as he now puts in a new purple sector of the racetrack, for purple sector 1 for Zad Soldat, and he certainly doesn't want Cutie Patootie too close to him, but equally he doesn't want to use too much of the tyres and end up off circuit once again as he was earlier on. We'll keep a close eye on him as Cutie Patootie is still struggling to stay away, and there you can see Zad Soldat just losing the rear of the car once again under the acceleration point through between turns 4 and 5, so a big moment for him. Cutie Patootie will have seen that just at the very edge of his vision, just on the horizon line as he went through the next corner. You can see from his eye view here. Running wide through turn 9, that will compromise the angle through turn 10. There may be a penalty for that. Here it is, indeed a 1.5 second penalty, so he's going to need to make the best use possible of the slipstream on this lap to try and save what he can. He might even have a go at getting past here. Let's join them, shall we? Trackside as they run through. Looks like the Ferrari pulling to the right here to try and dissuade car 22 from the move. Into the fray comes Racecack as well, and that was all very scrappy from the drivers. Racecack just limiting Cutie Patootie's ability to turn in to the corner, and then of course he's lost some of that slipstream from the Ferrari in front. Cutie Patootie will have a big deceleration on this time, but it might not be enough to lose the position to Racecack, who also has a 1 second penalty through here. We'll see him slow now. We'll see Racecack behind slow heavily, and Zad Soldat will extend his lead. It's currently 3.6 seconds out in front, as maybe a hint of a little bit of gamesmanship there, trying to make Racecack think that Cutie Patootie was heading into the pits here on the end of lap 22. It's now lap 23 of 35, and Zad Soldat in P1 by 4 seconds, 4 clear seconds now for him. Some good consistency, laps 19 and 20 there for Cutie Patootie, but nothing like the consistency we've seen for Zad Soldat. Although that previous lap might be a little bit slower. Yeah, that lap 21 at 15.1 was just when we saw the rear end let go slightly on the car. Back to the main battle though that we have in the race. This is Cutie Patootie in second, with Racecack trying to get that third position, running over the gravel, getting loose once again. You can hear the turbo wastegate there off throttle. Very cool as they run through. Cutie Patootie has used nearly all of his overtake boost. Now that is interesting, and if he comes to battle with Zad Soldat, who on lap 23 is going to pit for the first time, he goes into the pits and Racecack and Cutie Patootie run through. Just talking about boost there, so you've got the situation where Zad Soldat has over half his boost remaining. Cutie Patootie, I think, used a lot of it in that fastest lap attempt that he ran for a 109.625. So running very, very nice. Medium tyres have gone on to Zad Soldat's car. So we'll have a look at his lap time on his first flying lap here. There he goes, pressing the overtake button as Racecack once again. And it's now time to make hay while the sun shines for the drivers. While Zad Soldat is bringing those cold medium tyres up to temperature, Cutie Patootie should be putting in qualifying spec laps now and trying to maximise the pace difference and try and get himself into a situation where he can leapfrog and overtake Zad Soldat through the course of the pit stops. But how is his car feeling? Is he ready, perhaps, for a pit stop? No, he's going to hang on out there for a little bit longer. The car looking fairly stable underneath Cutie Patootie, and you have to say that unless he's been pushed off the circuit, he's probably been the most consistent of our drivers here so far through these very different sets of corners and car demands through the procedure of this race. So Cutie Patootie, no fuel usage, no fuel refueling happening here. It's just a tyre change, and Zad Soldat is down into third position at the moment. How far away is he? Well, he's 17 seconds. They're not fast pit stops here in the Gran Turismo 7 platform, but Zad Soldat is 19.7 seconds away from the lead, 16.1 away from Racecack, and Branco is still at the tail of the field, maybe near a pit stop, not entirely sure, and again has used a lot of his overtake allowance. So another fairly slow lap to his personal best there for Cutie Patootie in that sector, but he's running 15.2 on the previous lap. How will this lap compare, I wonder? It's not really a fair comparison to his outright top pace, because that's a 109.6. Again, avoiding the pit lane, doesn't want to run in there. There are 9 laps to go of this race. And we brake heavily up to turn 1 once again. We'll be thinking about the pit stop and whether he needs those tyres. We'll have a look at Zad Soldat's lap time, that one. That's a 110.1. That will have been on his out lap that time. So he's close to the ultimate pace here of Cutie Patootie. But his gap to the leader, 13.3 now. And there you see the medium tyres in operation. We'll get an idea of his outright fastest pace at the end of this lap at the moment, and I imagine those tyres are now feeling pretty good, in fact, and ready to really go for it. So just 7 seconds away from Racecack, who has yet to pit. Cutie Patootie yet to pit as well, but the mandatory pit stop has been performed here by Zad Soldat, who slides his way beautifully through turn 6. She gets several hundred points for that in a drift challenge, so very, very tidy little slide there, but it's not the way to go quickly around a Formula race car. You can tell how hard he is pushing at the moment. What is this lap looking like? That's a 110.3 this time out for Zad Soldat, as Cutie Patootie and Racecack are in the pits. Fantastic stuff to see another pit stop in operation. So just a matter of a few laps to run now. It's lap 27 of 35, and out of the pits comes Cutie Patootie. Branco has moved ahead, but he is yet to pit, and so the lead of Zad Soldat is officially out to 14.2 seconds now. He has put in some quick laps in that pit stop procedure, and it looked like it didn't gain Cutie Patootie a great deal throughout that section of the race. But 14.2 seconds, it's possible, but he will probably rely on a mistake or problem from Zad Soldat, and he's going to be too busy trying to deal with what will be a very loose Branco on old tyres, and also Racecack on identical condition medium tyres here as they continue to fight hard. This isn't going to help them bring themselves up towards the lead of the race as Racecack takes third away from Cutie Patootie, but in so doing has picked up a huge penalty, and screaming through goes Cutie Patootie as Branko and Racecack each having their own issues there. Branko does not pit. He's quite happy fighting here with the field. Cutie Patootie will have a big job on his hands as that gap has opened out even further to Zad Soldat thanks to the issues he had on his outlap. And we shall see then how his ultimate pace picks back up again on this lap for Cutie Patootie versus Zad Soldat. Oh, he just gets to the apex before Branko can outbrake himself and run him off the road. How is Zad Soldat doing at the moment? Well, it's 16.6 is his current speed, and he doesn't want to use those mediums too much. You can see occasionally just pushing the tyre further than it wants to go. And again, Cutie Patootie is fighting with Branko, who runs out onto the grass. Branko goes all the way around the outside. Beautiful manoeuvre from Branko. He's doing this on old tyres, but they do have the pace advantage ultimately on the softs at the moment. Cutie Patootie 14.7 away from the lead. He really wants to get rid of this situation with fighting with Branko, who is not really in the fight at this point because he hasn't pitted. He's still on those soft tyres, you can see confirmed there on the screen. So Cutie Patootie is losing his bid for the lead here in fighting with a car who has yet to pit. Racecack down the inside into turn one, but too much at the apex, and he had to take huge avoiding action on the throttle there. He couldn't apply the throttle smoothly. There is really just one racing line through that turn one. Cutie Patootie, I think, had slight nerf in the back on the run into turn three that time. Had to tiptoe his way around turn three and make it work. He's looking for an opportunity against Branko here. Feinting slightly to the inside, runs all the way to the outside onto the marbles. That's slow through the corner from Cutie Patootie. Just couldn't pull the car to the right because he opened the door essentially to Racecack, who dived down the inside. He's doing the same again, this time into turn six, and it's way too fast, way too hot through the corner for Racecack. He almost wipes his two rivals out, but this time out off the circuit and end of the battle for the time being for Racecack. He's got a big job now to try and pick up the pace and rejoin the battle here in for second position. Cutie Patootie again struggling through turn 9. It really does not seem to be working for him through these through this turn 9 on the corner at the moment. This for this race up, but the rest of the track he seems pretty comfortable. Something about turn 9 just isn't happening for him. He's managed to get through past Branko, but Branko is still in the slipstream, and he's picked up, Cutie has picked up a penalty, so he's not going to be able to pick up much. Branko with a little nerf in the back, just unsettling the fleet landing car that time. Cutie could really do with getting away here from Branko as quick as possible if he wants to bid in the final 5 laps of the race for potential victory. At the moment, he's looking good for second place. Branko still needing to pit, remember, and these medium tyres haven't even started to be used here for our drivers. So it is fascinating stuff to see how long Branko can go on this starting set of tyres, how deep he can go into the race. We shall see as we run then through with just 5 to go now. The next time our leader crosses the start-finish time, which he already has done. The Haas comes almost sideways through the final corner to rejoin the battle, and the battle is indeed rejoined. Will Racecack be able to avoid that huge curve on the inside of the first corner? Not quite, and he just rescues it once again. Alongside each other go the rivals once again. Interlocking wheels, it couldn't be closer as they brake heavily once again down into that first corner, that second corner, excuse me. And it looked like Branko was a lot smoother through there that time, but he will pick up a huge penalty if he forgets to pit. He's not going to do the Schumacher trick of pitting on the final lap of the race, I wonder. But Cutie Patootie, P4 now, has dropped behind Racecack. Something went wrong there with the handling for Cutie on through that sector, as Branko is off track, and then so is Racecack once again struggles on the run through turn 6. That really has been a problem area of the racetrack for Racecack throughout this particular race meet. Back we go then with Cutie Patootie, but looks like Zad Soldat is safe out there at the front of the field. His gap as big as it's ever been, 20.7 seconds. But Cutie Patootie slow and problematic through turn 10, has picked up a 2-second off throttle penalty on the gap between turns 8 and 9. The wind has changed, it's dropped, but it's also switched to the southwest again on the circuit. We've had beautiful racing conditions in terms of temperature and sunlight. A lack of rain, of course, through here. And that was perfect in terms of track position through the corner for Cutie Patootie that time round. Going to pick up a penalty. We're going to drop positions here unless the two cars behind him continue to go and run off track and run each other off track. Racecack is back up to 3rd. Branko is down to 4th, hasn't pitted, and I wonder if he might have forgotten to pit. We will see in the fullness of time. Big deceleration coming for Cutie now. Will he actually allow Racecack through? Yes, indeed. So Racecack back up to 2nd place. They have had a hard-fought race here today. And the final laps are nothing short of that, as Racecack, the back end comes out once again. Just that problem with the throttle and with traction oversteer that keeps happening for Racecack. But Cutie Patootie in P3 has eyes definitely on at least 2nd today if he can, as the gap at the front has dropped significantly. Zad Soldat has lost 5 seconds. I wonder if he's been off circuit once again, or is he just playing and toying with these three to see to give them false hope of a potential challenge for the victory at the end of the race. 118.3 the current pace on Cutie Patootie's car. Room for improvement for sure. Branko, car number 11, still yet to pit as they run through turn 6. Grass and tyre marbles being thrown across the racetrack as usual. And Racecack is in 2nd place. Branko making a move here for a provisional podium. Late on the brakes into turn 9. Very, very beautifully done there from Branko. And the Fleet branding car goes down into 4th position and spins all the way round. Manages to recover it. We'll need to be careful not to oversteer on the way back onto the circuit, but that could be the end of Cutie Patootie's run in this race, because we're on the penultimate lap now with Zad Soldat. Here he is, a little bit slow through the corners. He may have been off circuit once again as the gap has dropped down to 8.3 seconds. Racecack will be looking at that and thinking, I don't mind a little bit of a challenge for the lead at the end of the race. We'll have you do that again if you can, please, Zad. But Branko still has not pitted. Now he has to pit at the end of this lap, or he will suffer a big penalty for not changing tyres. We shall see how that goes. Again, the tail snaps out on Racecack's car, and he expertly wrestles it back into the proper racing line. Still turn 6 though, still a little bit greedy in terms of speed, and he picks up a half-second off-throttle penalty. It's all important now. We'll see, will Branko head on into the pits and take his mandatory pit stop on the final opportunity? He does not, so we can fully expect a problem for him at the end of the race. I'll keep my eye though on where our leader currently is, because he has started his final lap. The next two have started their final lap, and just in the background you can just see Cutie Patootie has started his final lap too, as Racecack and Branko continue to fight. Half a second between them. I'm sure though that a big penalty will be coming the way of Branko's car for failing to pit. We shall see how things run towards the end of this one. Diving down the inside on the last lap goes the Haas. full contact though, sidewall to sidewall, possibly a hint of tyre into the side pod of Branco's car, but coming through to start the finish the second, start the third sector of the lap is Zad Soldat, 12.6 seconds ahead. Cutie Patini's wrestled third place off Branco here, who's dropping down the order down into fourth position, but it is going to be Zad Soldat through turn 9, the final corner just to come for to take a famous victory here at the Red Bull Ring. Here he is in the Ferrari. He takes the win by 13.3 seconds at the final time of asking. A little bit of contact between Cutie Patini and Racecack at the line. Will he get him to the actual line? Here they go. Racecack will take second place to Cutie Patini's third, and Branco gets the fourth place. It is a fabulous race we've had on our hands, battling lap after lap after lap. Fantastic stuff from the drivers, but all the glory goes by way of Zad Soldat. Took the pole position and the victory. I think the fastest lap did actually end up staying with Cutie Patini, but victory for Zad Soldat in the Ferrari colour scheme at the Red Bull Ring. Let's take a look then at the result of our race. Zad Soldat wins the race on a time of 45 minutes, 0.867. Nice and on time that way. Racecack in second position, with Cutie Patini in third place with the fastest lap as well, and then getting the penalty on the final lap, of course, for not pitting was Branco, with a total of a 1 minute and 2 second penalty on that final lap. But Zad Soldat wins the race from Racecack and Cutie Patini. Well, tremendous stuff, tremendous fighting and battling there from our drivers. What a tremendous race we had all the way through, and it will be the Ferrari winning from the fleet branding from the Haas, and then of course Branco at the tail of the field. My name's Webbo. I've been your commentator for this tremendous race. Brilliant stuff, and we will look forward to the next round of the F1 Brontest here, and I will talk you through where and when you can expect to see that one. We will have the Autodrome Lago Maggiore coming on the 25th of February, and that will be at the same time as this race. Barcelona in round 3, Spa-Francorchamps in round 4, Dragon Tail for round 5. We then go to Kyoto, the Nürburgring Grand Prix layout, Brands Hatch Grand Prix layout as well, before the final 2 rounds will finish at Watkins Glen International, and on the 28th of April, the Deep Forest Raceway round. Tremendous stuff. Thanks so much for watching, and we will catch you on the next race day.